Welcome to another episode of Until It's Done, a devoted podcast. I'm your host, Dana Lynn Kay, and I'm here again with my beautiful, wonderful friend who drove down, Stephanie Ranallo. She just came down today to do some really important episodes that we've been talking about doing for a while because there are conversations that we've had on a personal level, and they're conversations that I think will really benefit others to hear. Yeah. Steph and I both have gone through our own personal transformations as far as physical with weight loss. And so we have both been through divorces. Yep. And really not far from each other. I mean, I went through my divorce, and then not long after, you started going through your divorce, and I was like, oh, wow, okay, well, we were able to support each other. Yeah. We both took our turn, basically. Yeah. It wasn't even simultaneously. And so not only, going through divorce, meaning, with a relationship, a marriage. Yep. And then we want to talk about just like friendships, relationships, all that stuff that comes with the territory of really changing your life, changing the person who you are, going through a big transformation. Steph was, just to recap, Steph was at one point 305 pounds. So she went through a massive, because now you're sitting here literally half the woman. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, that's you're losing an entire person basically, and became an entire new person. So with your marriage, because we are going to talk about relationships, with your marriage, how was your marriage affected with your transformation?
I think, well, first of all, when I was in my bariatric program, kind of going through it, we had to go to these classes, and they were honestly just kind of bull. But they did say something about look to the left, look to the right, and, half or more of you in this room, if you're married or with your spouse right now, are going to be divorced or separated because of bariatric surgery.
Damn, that's really to say that.
They literally said that. And funny enough, I had my gastric sleeve the same day. A close girlfriend of mine had her room-wide gastric bypass same day, and we're both divorced. From our first husbands. So
now, what did you think when they said that at the time?
I didn't believe it. And I'm like, why? Like
you were happily married at the time.
Married. My husband at the time, he's not a jerk. He's not a mean guy.
No, yeah.
He was always supportive of everything I wanted to do. I went back to school a million times, and then now bariatric surgery, and he never said anything. And I didn't think much of it. And, we were okay for a while. And then after I got really into bodybuilding, and I just had a different outlook on life. And I realized that not that, he had bad morals or anything like that. Our lives just kind of looked a lot different. And
than before.
From what it was before. And my wants and his wants were just different. And, it was almost like the relationship kind of ran its course at that point. Do
you think if you didn't have the surgery, and make this transformation, it was do you think because these are all interesting things to think about.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Because it's okay, well, if you just had stayed, you didn't, and who knows, would you have stayed in mid 300 pounds? Would you naturally have lost a little? Would you kept gaining? Who knows? Who knows?
Who really does know? And the crazy part is did I settle then because I was big and I didn't have much self-confidence? Was I really ready?
Because then you make questions was I in the right relationship to begin with?
Yeah, there were so many questions that I, asked myself, and I had to go through, during my divorce, I had to go through my own type of therapy to kind of decipher these things. And really what it boiled down to is that I lost that Stephanie that before 2016, that 305 pound girl, I lost her.
Yeah.
I buried her.
Yeah.
And I lost a lot of friends too, because I stopped being as fun as I was. I was, the center of attention. I was the crazy drunken girl that
down for whatever girl. Yeah.
Was always down. And,
yeah.
Let's go out, let's party, let's rally. And I stopped I stopped all that because I had to for myself, and I started to get invited less and less to places, and I grew apart. I grew apart from friends. I grew apart from family, and I grew apart from my then husband.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That, that's it's like sad, but it's not. It's like we spoke about before when, obviously if you're at 305 pounds and you had a, laundry list of health issues, growing health issues, infertility, all kinds of things that you were like, okay, like this isn't okay.
I mean, at 305 pounds, I was making fun of the girls that look like me now when I would go to the gym. And that wasn't because I was making fun of them for anything other than I was jealous that they look like that.
Yeah.
But, if I saw me now walking down the street, I'd be like, but all she does is, work out. But and maybe she needs a hamburger and things like that. So, and
if you saw probably the old you walking down the street right now,
I'd be like, oh my God, I want to save her.
I want to help her. Exactly. Yeah. It's like, and even though if say you saw her at a restaurant and she's having her huge margarita and she's having a great time,
I'd be like, oh, I wish I could teach you something.
And then you'd also be like, what's going on though in her personal life? What's going on with her health? What's going on with when she does try to have a baby or when she does what it's like, oh no, this is not going to end well. And with what she's doing and what you're seeing her. Yeah.
I think this is a little bit off topic, but I think we need to say it is that body positivity movement or something like love your body. Yes. And I do think that you should love your body, but there comes a point where you are not healthy.
Right.
You're not.
And those were facts. The thing is that what people don't understand is that you didn't make the changes because you stood in the mirror. Because at 305,
I loved myself more than I did when I was 135 pounds after I lost all the weight. Because I was so judgy about myself and I was never enough at that point, in the beginning of my journey when I was skinnier.
Right.
But at 305 pounds, I didn't think about that shit. I mean, sometimes when I couldn't fit into clothes and I'd be like, I have nothing to wear. But I really didn't think
You didn't think about that. But it was, the facts were the facts.
But it was the fact that I
were unhealthy.
I couldn't go up a flight of steps without wheezing. I was smoking a pack of cigarettes a day.
Pre-diabetic.
Yeah, I would bend down to tie my shoes and come up short of breath from tying my shoes at 26 or 28.
How were airplane rides for you?
Oh my God, Dana. I'll never forget. I think it was coming back. Was it coming back from Dominican Republic or something? I had to stand up, hold my belly up so that my ex-husband could strap me in.
Because they wouldn't fit around your stomach.
No, and then I placed my big belly over top of the seatbelt. And I needed 2 seats and a seatbelt extender at that point. Really, I did. Because we were... Yeah. He wasn't a small guy either.
Right, no, he was a big dude.
He was a big dude. He was wide, but I was, tanky.
And when that stuff happened,
it's just so.
Were you like, whoa? Okay.
That stuff's embarrassing. And then we have a amusement park back home. It's called Kennywood. And there started to be quite a number of rides that I couldn't get on anymore because I couldn't get the seatbelt to clasp because I was too big. My belly wouldn't, those pull down things.
Yeah.
My belly wouldn't squish enough to seatbelt it. So I wasn't able to do a lot of that stuff. And I love roller coasters. And that stuff was really embarrassing. But you know what? I still didn't give a shit.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't at all.
It's amazing how you went. I mean, so you've changed. You've done a 180 because for you to change from not even affecting you that you couldn't fit into rides or put a seatbelt on.
In the moment, I was like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?"
You'd be angry that they didn't make it to accommodate you, or whatever.
Yeah, and I go get a funnel cake and it's fine.
And then you. The funnel cake will make it all go away. And okay. And then now we've gotten to the point where you've gotten to the point, I'm not saying because I say we, because I'm there too, where now we're so in tune with our physiques that we have body image issues, not body image issues, but meaning where we do care. And
I don't like to be bloated. I probably lived bloated for a large portion of my life, but I work really hard not to get bloated because I don't like that feeling.
So, okay. So then now to get back to with your relationship. So you were married and you had, he was supportive. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes. I mean, I've met your ex-husband, mm-hmm. really nice guy, mm-hmm. Supportive. And he was there for you, obviously through that surgery, through your skin removal, all mm-hmm. of that. Yep. You guys did try to have children together, but you did suffer from infertility due to your, your size.
My size, polycystic ovarian syndrome. I had that through and through. Yeah. Even after I lost weight, they go, "Oh, you got skinny people PCOS." I'm like, "What does that even mean?" You told me that it was like a fat girl thing.
Yeah.
But no. Now that I know a little bit more about it, you could be smaller and have it too. So yeah, we did all of that, and that really tarnished our relationship.
That takes a toll on a relationship,
for sure. And like I said, we grew apart.
Now I think also, it's like now. And where I could relate to you is, now I was never 305 pounds. I mean, the biggest I got was 210. So it's not like I got to be a thick girl. And I remember, as I was losing weight, you do transform into how you feel about yourself. You do feel sexier. You feel prettier. It's like even both of our faces get round. I mean, obviously, when
I gain weight.
Yes, me too. I look at pictures. Yeah. I mean, even now, if I'm holding, I'm like, oh my God, I have okay, so we'd have your face starts to lose chisel out. And then, you're feeling like, oh, I'm going to wear smaller outfits and I'm wearing tighter pants and I'm doing all my stuff. And then you start to transform into this new person and you're feeling sexier about yourself and sexier in your own skin. And then depending on where you are with your relationship.
And I kind of started to see that my needs weren't being met.
Right.
And
because you guys had been together for a really long time.
And it wasn't a new thing. Because, afterwards I would talk to some of my closer friends. I'm like, yeah, stuff that went on for years. You just didn't.
Right.
You didn't.
But now you're craving attention because you're like, look, I'm putting in all this work. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling myself. And you want this attention from your spouse and you want him to notice and him to crave you and want you. And it was like,
Yeah. And at that point, it was comfortable.
Right, you were too.
You get, and if anybody's in a long-term relationship, you kind of realize there's a little bit of level of comfort, which I keep telling my fiance now, we're not getting comfortable.
You can't get comfortable. No, you should. You always need to stay in the honeymoon phase.
I've been there and did that.
No,
don't get comfortable. But
I agree.
I just kind of realized that my wants, my likes, my wishes. They didn't line up. And it came to a point where stay in an unhappy relationship or do something about it. Yep. And, I needed to do something about it.
When you start to realize, so like I said, I've been through a divorce. I went through a divorce. My divorce was final in 2019. And, again, I was not married. I was in a similar type of relationship with that Steph was in, where I was married for 10 years and we were very comfortable. We were best friends. We were it was like we were best friends living in a house, raising 3 kids together and all of that. But there just wasn't that fire there. And our interests, were kind of, it's like you said, it's like, we were growing apart. Yeah. I was developing into a different person than I was 10 years than who I was 10 years ago when we met. And all those things are normal. I mean, we would talk about it because it's you feel guilt.
But you don't go into a marriage this is only going to last 10 years. You never think.
No, you don't. And you also don't know who you're going to be.
So when that happens, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that I'm a statistic now.
Right.
But
you also can't control. When I first got married, if you said to me, okay, you're going to have 3 kids, you're going to own a company, you'll get to the point where you're going to, own a brand and be so heavy into fitness and I'd be like, you're crazy. That sounds absolutely nuts. Yeah. So I didn't know Right. So I didn't know who I was going to turn into, what I was going to be, how we were going to evolve. And the thing is, if the person doesn't evolve with you at the same time, with the same interest, doing the same things, I'm not saying that, okay, it's not worth to fight for it, blah, blah, blah. But it's why are you forcing I don't want him to change me. I'm not going to change him. And either we're evolving at the same rate and going at it together, or what I used to say is like, we're kind of like two ships passing in the night. Like I'm up at 5 a.m., like doing my cardio, doing my stuff. Like you're sleeping till 8. I'm with the kids. I'm tired at night. You're staying up to watch a movie. When are we having sex? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. And you know what? I got, to be really honest, I got really selfish, and it was about me. For the first time in my life, going through my journey, my focus was on me. It wasn't making everybody else happy in my life. It was
which you have to do that when you're trying to change yourself.
Really change. Like, what is going to make me happy? Yep. What do I need to do, to make me happy? And we said in the other episode, I went hard in the paint, in the fitness. Was it the right thing? No, I coach from a very different perspective when I coach my clients. But that's my truth, that I went very, very hard. And I think if you talk to a lot of bodybuilders that are really really deep into their bodybuilding journey, nothing else really matters outside of bodybuilding. And
a lot of their relationships do fall apart.
So it's not just, there was a lot of things. And same with a lot of friendships and family. Like, if you weren't about me and about my journey, then you didn't have a place in my life. And I'm not recommending anybody do that.
But sometimes
that's what happened with me.
Sometimes in order to put yourself first, you've got to go through some selfish phases to get to the other side, which I know sounds so terrible, but it's like sometimes if we just keep making exceptions and saying, okay, well, no, I'll do this one more time. Oh, I'll do this to make her happy and him happy. And then we'll do this. You've never made real strides to get towards who you deserve to be. And like we've spoken about, we went through a lot of rough times to finally like get to the other side, and it's like we're here.
Yeah,
and
it was like,
and now we have the flexibility to say like, sometimes I'm going to be selfish, and sometimes I'm going to say, you know what, it's a family weekend. I'm not doing this. Correct. I'm not doing that. But you know what? I also know now that everything is not going to fall apart. I'm going to be okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you are the sum of the individuals that you hang out with, right?
Yep, it's the truth.
It's the absolute cold truth. So if you're hanging out with a bunch of very prominent people and that are, into their fitness and their profession and they have careers and things like that, you're going to want to level up to be with them.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that my friend group wasn't like that, but I'm saying that we did a lot of partying, and I had to separate myself from that as well. So I did lose a lot of friendships, and I lost some friendships because I was so judged for the transformation that I made on their jealous behalf.
Right. And if they weren't ready to go there, then it's okay. Like, not everybody has to come on the journey with you.
No, not at all.
But then also it's like, sometimes you're like, okay, well then I can't take you with me. And and it's like, I'm not going to also just fall back because of you. Right. I'm ready to rise, to level up to a different, And
I think a lot of times whenever you're really into it and you're really changing yourself and you're so forward focused and you're leaning in,
blinders have to be on.
Blinders are on, but you also intimidate a lot of people that wish they could do that.
Yep.
And how many times do you hear like people searching Instagram, like, I wish I could be that girl. I wish I could be that girl, blah, 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 blah.
Oh my God. That's been the story of my life. I mean, I tell people all the time, I don't only have a handful of friends, and the handful of friends that I have are all like-minded. They're people like you, like Kelly and, Jen, and like people who are all like, look, like, we grind, we've got our same lifestyle, we're doing our things, we're supportive, like we're happy for each other, we've all got big goals, big dreams, like, and then yet we all have this like mutual respect, which is like now with me and for my boyfriend, it's like we get it, and that's why we click. That's why this relationship, is so much better. Right. And I'm not saying, that my ex-husband, it just wasn't the right fit for me. I'm not saying he's a great guy.
I agree 100%.
Right?
100%.
Yeah.
A great guy. But wasn't the right fit for me. Now, I didn't think that I would be engaged and getting married again. I didn't think that was going to be my truth.
Yeah.
And I did not expect Matt to walk into my life when he did.
Same with Greg.
Same with Greg. Yeah. But it was just like, holy crap. I've never felt like
That's the beauty, though, of the timing. But that's with life. Like life, when things click or when somebody, and sometimes you never know because with my story with Greg, you were the friend that was like, I sent you guys a picture and I'm like, this guy from the gym asked me out. And it was like 2 months after my divorce. And you were like, he doesn't look like your type. And I was like, I know, right? Like, I don't know. He doesn't. This. And then you were like, eh. And I was like, you know what? He asked me for talk. Like, I love Mexican. Like, I'll go out for a Mexican meal, like whatever. And then like, I was like, I like him. Like there's something about him. And like, I'll go into my story about Greg another time, but like, yeah, it's like sometimes you never know. And same with, I remember when you met Matt and you're like, yeah, there's like this guy and like, he seems cool. We're going to hang out. And it was like so nonchalant. And I was like, I don't know.
So nonchalant with him.
Yeah.
And like, I have to say he was one of the ones that, I mean, you got dating in your 30s is just like, whoa, what is happening?
Yeah. I was pretty sure I was going to be like the single, like.
Yeah, me too. I thought that I was just going to have dogs.
Yeah.
And, it's the way some guys try to get your attention is very interesting. And Matt wasn't any of that. And I was like,
same. Greg was like, not, yeah. And it was like refreshing as hell. I'm like, wow. Actually the way you got my attention was not trying to get my
attention. Like,
it's like, thank you for not, like to this day, I'm like, thank you for not just sending me random dick pics because that seems to be the theme in dating these days.
It's just like, hey.
I'm like, I really don't need to know what's going on. That
I was just having a conversation about that to somebody. And I was like, what are you supposed to do with that when you get that? I was like, I'm a nurse. Do you know how many dicks I've seen in my life?
Right?
I've been a nurse.
And it's like, what does that even tell? How do you even respond to that? Like, why is that something that is even like?
I'm not 20.
Why is that even a way that you think that that's going to start a relationship? Or even after Greg and I were dating a while. I mean, to this day, we've been together it'll be 4 years in November, and I've yet to ever open a picture like that. Like, I'm just like, thank you for having respect for me. That like if I'm going to see it, it'll be in person, and like it'll be like no, like I don't need what is that, a preview? I don't know. And I got, when I was...
Although, sidebar, I was watching something one time and some woman built a whole business on rating dick pics.
Well, I mean, if you can monetize, good for you.
She was making bank, and I was like,
okay, well...
She's on to something.
I mean, that's a business-minded woman. She probably would fit into our... She probably fit into our group of friends.
Could you imagine that? What do you do for a living? I rate dick pics.
Unbelievable. Okay. No, I mean, look, I respect that. If you can spin something like that into a business, I personally, I wasn't receiving that many to spin it into a business.
That maybe she markets for it now. I don't know.
Okay, because I don't know. I made what, like 10 maybe I got, whatever, the random on Instagram, and then I get a block because I'm like, what in the hell was that? Like,
it's like one of those.
Or somebody would be like, hey, I have I need a nutrition advice. And I open it up and I'm like, oh, that was not nutrition.
Hey, do you want to coach me? Boom, dick pic. What? Why? No, I don't. I do not.
Oh my God. Men and women are so different. Like our thinking.
Send one back.
Like I would no. I've had some really wacky requests also on Instagram to send my sweaty sports bras or my sweaty socks. And I'm like, what the hell? No. First of all, I'm not sending you my Lululemon sports bra. Have you looked up what that
pay for that?
Right? Oh no, it's ridiculous. But yeah, the dating world is scary right now. Yeah. Or I guess maybe it's always been, but like
I don't know. I mean, like you and I were both in marriages for a while.
Yeah. And like even before, dating, I was on dating sites and stuff for a while before.
That's why I met Matt on Tinder, and he was holding a really cute puppy, and I swiped, and we still know that puppy to this day. The puppy's name is Bo, and he's responsible for our relationship. But nice.
It's like you never know. And the thing
is like, how do you meet people? I don't go to bars. I don't go out.
But
really.
My grandfather always said, he said, if you want to, it was something like, I don't know, it was like a saying, like you want to meet an alcoholic, like go out to a bar. It's like, or, it was like a saying, not necessarily alcohol, but like somebody who's into drinking. So if you want to meet somebody who's into blah, 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 like, so I know for me, I wanted to meet a guy who fitness was part of their lifestyle. And so
I didn't want like a hardcore bodybuilder.
I know. I didn't want like a body. Although Greg is like, like
Greg's a ninja.
He's like, I call him, what do I call him? The ninja monkey or something like that. He's like a
yogi fitness.
Yogi ninja monkey. He's really into his fitness. He's probably more obsessed with fitness than I am. But then again, like when we say about hanging out with people who force you to level up, like Greg's like crazy, like runner. He's like strong as hell. He trains. He just makes me in business. He forces me to level up.
He makes me feel so.
And makes me feel tired.
And tired.
And he's like great at yoga and he's great at, so that's what I was attracted to.
10-mile run. What?
No, exactly. But the thing is, like, I knew I needed a man who put me back in my place where it's like, I can't run over you. And Greg, I can't run over Greg. Greg's unbelievable in every way, so that it keeps me down where I'm like, okay, he's going to crush me in, like, I don't want to be the fitness superstar in my home. Like, he still is. Yeah. And so that was good for me. And I knew that that's what I needed in a relationship. Yeah. And, and I also needed somebody who wasn't obsessed with food. So Greg crushes also food because I didn't want a guy who was dieting because that's toxic.
That bodybuilder
that's not good for me because of our history with food. We don't want somebody so boxed into, we needed somebody with like flexibility and yet understanding. Like Greg's happy for me to still be in my healthy lifestyle eating. But then again, if he says, babe, let's go out for sushi this weekend, he also knows like I'm down.
Yeah.
Because his question asking me to go out, he said for our first date, he said, are you one of those fitness? He said, where would you like me to go? I want to make reservations, but I'm not too sure where because are you like one of those fitness girls? Yeah. Like what? And I'm like, no, make it wherever. And he said, will you eat tacos? And I was like, heck yeah. So like for him too, it was a big deal to be like, okay, I don't want to be with a girl who like, I can't also just have a good time, go out to restaurants, like be dieting all the time. Like
for me, I needed somebody who would demasculinize.
Yes, put you back in your feminine energy.
Is that the
right?
word? Yeah, because
that's what I'm talking about.
I'm like,
right.
It's just me, but like
we needed like these alpha type of males. Yes,
back down.
Put you back into that place, that energy.
That's different for me.
Yes,
that's different for me.
So you don't always have to be take charge. I have a whole podcast coming out about that, about coming back into your feminine energy, and it's a real thing. And it really does screw up relationships where the woman is just like I got to do this, I got to do that.
Run so much.
Yes,
and I felt like that with my first marriage. Just try to run so much and just try to overpower everything. And
we spoke about that where we're like, let the man take care of us. Like you book the restaurant and like you make the reservations and you drive the truck and take me out and just let me get dressed up and feel like I'm not even bringing I don't even bring my wallet when I hang out with Greg or like hang out when we go out. I mean,
I hang out with my boyfriend.
But like when we go out, like I'll be like, babe, do I need a purse? And he's like, I don't know. What do you bring? Your phone? And I'm like, oh, okay, you're right. Like my lip balm and my phone, like because it's like he's taking care of everything, and I just want to like. I don't want to worry about that stuff. Like, I want to just be with a man who, like, where are we going? And I know that was something important to you. You were like, I just want to, like, let a man, like, do the handy things and
do the man.
Do the man things.
Do the man.
The masculine. Yeah. And so.
And it's nice because we're very different. Like, obviously. Matt knows a lot about bodybuilding and training and food and things like that. So we do have that in common. But in his full-time job, he's a network programmer. And when he speaks to me about these things, I'm like, what are you talking about? And when I speak to him about medical stuff, he's like, what are you talking about? So it's kind of nice to be different too, that we can learn from each other.
Exactly.
And not have everything be...
Exactly. Have your own, like, it's two whole people coming together.
And I think being a little bit older, getting into a relationship, you can...
When you're older, you're looking for different things.
Or, I like this. Or
your priorities are like, you're now like, okay, I already saw what worked and didn't work.
And like, if I'm going to do this again, I'm going to want it, like, really bad. You know?
Yep.
I think family relationships are really weird after... I'm sure as when you competed, your family relationships got a little bit weird, but weight loss surgery. Yeah.
So how was that weird with your, like, okay, so you're from an Italian family that's really,
foodie focused.
I was going to say, and your old school with like, your Christmas feasts and all your stuff. Yeah. And so because here your family has seen you now through the majority of your life, You were always the
it
big
was
girl.
normal, but it was normal in my family, right? We just did what we did.
And how did they treat you? So you transform.
I got so much ridicule whenever I said I was having bariatric surgery. So much ridicule.
From all different family members?
From all different family members. Some were like, oh my God, yeah.
Supportive.
This is going to be good for you. Some were like, are you just going to eat a pea or an almond for the rest of your life for dinner? Because you're never going to be able to enjoy food again, blah, 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 blah.
And then that's a very closed-minded way. Instead of coming at you saying like, so what does this do?
You don't know whenever you're first to get bariatric surgery. You don't know, like, oh shit, am I never going to be able to enjoy food again? And that's not the truth. I can stand by and tell you that for sure. Being multiple years out, but and then it probably wasn't until maybe like 3 years ago, my mom stopped asking like, well, what are you going to eat? We're going here, but what are you going to eat? And she's just trying to be nice and like, in line with and I'm always like, Mom, don't worry about it. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll handle me.
Stop thinking about it so much. But yeah, it was very different with the family. And then, when you lose a bunch of weight, you're too skinny. Blah, 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 blah.
As soon as you lose the weight, they're trying to fatten you back up again. You're like, wait a second, like I lost weight. Like
I get it. I get that you never seen me like this.
Yeah. And you're like, trust me, I'm actually healthier now. I know that you think
I look at myself sometimes and I'm like, I did not think I could ever look like this, but like, you're too skinny, or, they see you eat such small things and then you go to have a cookie and enjoy and they're like, are you supposed to be eating that? You're like, oh, I don't know. Am I supposed to be eating that? Like,
wow. Like, it's like everyone's worried. Everyone's worried about what's going on in your mouth. What's going in your mouth?
What am I supposed to do? I don't know. I don't know. Just leave me alone. How about that?
Yeah.
But that was my family.
But isn't that amazing? Like as soon as you actually are trying to make yourself, change your lifestyle, you go through a surgery, you're making yourself healthier. Before that was everybody in your business of what you were eating.
No.
So it's like you go through the surgery and now suddenly everybody's got an opinion about what's going on.
You got too skinny. Now you're too muscular.
With your body, your plate, what you look like, what you're eating, it's like, let me tell you, I go to holiday events. I don't give a shit what anyone's eating. I'm like,
honestly, no, I don't.
I don't look at anyone's plate. If you tell me right now, what did your mom eat? What did your kids? I don't even know what my kids eat. I only know that my kids are not eating right because I look at their plates and I'm like, why do you have pie and we haven't even had turkey yet? Like, or like, why is there 9 cookies on this plate?
Exactly.
Or I'm like,
one thing of protein.
And I'm like, could you please, or I'm like, could you please try something like, oh, you got sweet potatoes and marshmallows all off the top. And then where's the rest of the dinner? And they're like, well, that's my dinner. And then I'm going to have dessert. And I'm like, okay, that's the only reason why I'm alerted to bad eating choices. But like, no, other than that, I can't tell you what anybody's eating at my table. I don't care. My brother recently lost a lot of body fat. He looks great.
He does.
But I don't care what he's eating. Like, I'm not going to go now and go, Dave, what are you doing? Like, are you going to, I'm not going to comment because I'm like, look, you knew what it took to get you there. And I'm not going to now get in your head. I don't need to be in your head. It's none of my business.
He did. It was very like,
they were trying to get into your head.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
And I think that, kind of soft whenever you first start, because you don't know. You're just so confused. You're like, am I doing these things right? Am I doing these things wrong? Like, you don't have confidence to stand on your own 2 feet until you create that confidence yourself.
Right.
And like now it's just like,
and so
don't talk to me
fast
about it.
forward. Like, I mean, now you have been coaching people now.
Yeah.
You spun all your experience, knowledge. I mean, obviously you've got extensive medical background, so with all of that, you are now like an incredible coach. You've been coaching people for 6 years?
Yeah, I think it's going to be 6 years coming up, this next year, whatever, 2024.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so with all of the knowledge, all of the experience, everything, I mean, now that's very powerful because you're able to really mentor and get ahead of the things that you're going to see no matter where these people are on their journey. Because like you said, some people that are whether it's regular weight loss or bariatric weight loss, whatever, no matter where they are, doesn't mean they could say, well, it's been 5 years since my bariatric journey or whatever, and I'm still struggling with this or this or this. And so it's like you can come in at any time really and help somebody.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, I don't just do bariatric individuals.
Right.
I'll do anybody. A lot of weight loss surgery individuals hire me because they can relate to me, but I coach so differently. than I did when I first started.
Sure.
Because when I first started, I was like in this, and it was go hard or go home, and I expected my clients to do that. But like looking back now, I didn't teach them the right ways back then, and now it's more of a softer approach, which, look, if you're not competing and you're not going to be on the cover of America's Next Top Model or Sports Illustrated,
right,
you don't need to do this.
And you don't need to be cracked a whip, like as though you're like.
Now, if you come to me and you say, I want to compete and I have a photo shoot, we're like, okay, well, this is a little bit different and you need to.
And you're on a time. Yeah. Like if you're saying, like, look, I've got a photo shoot in 3 months, like I've got to be in the best shape of my life.
And you're like, okay, well, then you don't have
the liberty to like just take your time.
We got to go. But you know, if you need to lose a good bit of weight, I'm going to teach you how to do that sustainably, but I'm also going to make sure that you're not just giving up everything in your life. Because like I said, and I was saying to you earlier, I gave up a lot, and it did cost me relationships. It did cost me missing out on events and holidays and birthdays and things that I wouldn't go to because I didn't trust myself at that point.
Right. And you now can give people the tools to handle those and not miss out.
Yeah. And you know, life is short. Life doesn't need to be this free-for-all and lollygagging and fly off the seat of your pants and think that you can do the things without structure. But there does need to be time and a place for people to actually enjoy stuff. And sometimes when you're out there and you're enjoying and you're realizing and understanding how to enjoy, that's good for the soul. And what's good for the soul is also good for the body sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and my clients sometimes, I'll say, look, this weekend, I don't want you to train. I want you to have sex with your husband and have a glass of wine. They're like, excuse me? I'm like, yes, that's your plan this weekend. This is de-stress weekend.
Yeah. Part of the plan.
I've never had a coach tell me that. I'm like, well, welcome.
And welcome to real life, and welcome to balance and really, really working in the important things that also matter. People forget that like those types of things matter. Like you have to do the deload type of like, relaxation things.
And there's not a lot of people, that are just starting out on their journey that can be pushed really, 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 really hard without cracking. There's just not, and I've learned that throughout the years. You give people way too much right off the bat, they are going to get overwhelmed, start putting up walls,
I agree.
Revolt. Yep. And it's just not.
And it's overwhelming. It's too much to try to change a lifestyle right now and just
change a lifestyle.
Throw so many things at them.
And everybody wants to lose 20 pounds in 20 days. And it's just like, cool, you could do that if you go on like I don't know.
Fast? I don't know. What do you,
ice? Sure, you can eat ice if you want, but like what's going to happen after that 20 days? You're going to want to eat some food. Yeah. And you're going to rebound.
Anything, if you go too hard, there's going to be like a slingshot effect where it's like, if somebody says to you, well, okay, well, she can prep me to be in the best shape of my life in 3 months. It's like, don't forget, you're going to go hard for 3 months. And then don't forget, there's a pullback. It's like whooshing. It's like, don't forget. But yet, if you do a nice, slow, there's going to be less of a whooshing
and
back.
Like, you never know what the hell's going to happen in life. You never know what life is going to throw at you. And you might need to not go so hard. And
it's better to, like you said, if you don't know, it's better to have the tools to combat anything that's thrown at you in life. So you were telling me that you have a client who has been through some emotional things and she's struggling with this, with a family member and a mom and a this and all these different issues. And so she's not checking in and she's not doing this and that. And it's like, okay, well, if she's not doing the program, but now she's got all these stressful things, how to deal with those stressful things is part of the program.
And that's life.
That's life.
Life doesn't stop for anybody or anything.
No.
It really doesn't.
And it's going to keep throwing stuff at you.
After my divorce and moving again down to Melbourne and all of these things, life did not give one shit that I had gained 30 pounds. Nope. And
my life didn't care either. My business didn't stop after my divorce. I gained weight and my life. My kids still needed me and my business still needed me. And it's like
life doesn't ever stop. So
I'm not like, okay, everything stops so I can focus on Dana and weight loss.
What do we do when life gets really, 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 really tough? How do we walk through that? Because everybody has issues. Everybody got things going on.
Yeah.
Life looks different for everybody at any given moment.
So I go back to the basics. So how I handle it, because we're going to give you an answer right now. When life starts throwing crazy stuff at you, because I remember going through my divorce, and I went through a nasty battle to take over my company. I did have a business partner.
It was all around the same time.
It was all the same time. Mm-hmm. Real ugly. I was dealing with a nasty narcissistic person in my life also. I had a lot of really stressful things happening. And I remember feeling overwhelmed, and I was really scared I was going to fall back into like really bad old habits with binging. And it definitely happened a handful of times through it. And every time it happened, I had to now I never gained back 40 pounds, something crazy, because why? Every time I would see that, like, Dana, you're falling into.
But you also got a coach then at those points in your life.
I did. I did a couple times
throughout the life.
A couple times I had accountability people. And then it was also like, what I would do was I was like, okay, don't stop the things just because I'd wake up and I'd be sad and I'd be depressed and I'm going through a divorce and my kids and I'm figuring things out. But I was like, just get in a walk, do some cardio, like don't stop the things that make you feel good. Because cardio does make me feel good. And I wasn't like killing myself, but I'd be like, Dana, get on and do 30 minutes and get into sweat, get your endorphins going, like feel good. Like, don't stop doing those things. A lot of times people go through stressful times and they'll just stop doing.
And like, that's not doing any help to
and so I would let's get in the water, like still drink your water and still let's make our big salad and let's still do the things. Because if I started to pull back old habits.
Oh, yeah, then it would just be food and
comfort and just sitting and wallowing and be sad.
And then now you're gaining weight on top of it, and it all is like a pimple. It becomes a big pimple.
Yep. And it just keeps festering and festering and festering. And then, it's not making the issues go away. Yeah. So all of that, just like not doing the things, it's not like that you sitting eating a tub of Ben and Jerry's at night
change the fact that you lost your job.
Right. It doesn't change the fact you're going through a divorce. It doesn't change the fact, none of those things. But what can help you is getting your dog on the leash and throwing on your jacket and saying, you know what, I'm going to go for a walk, even if it's chilly outside at night. I don't know, wherever you're living, and saying, like, you know what, I'm going to go for a
self-help podcast.
Yes, and I'm going to take a 30-minute walk, and I'm going to come back, and instead of pouring a big glass of wine when I get home, I'm going to make some soothing hot tea, and I'm going to take a bath, and I'm going to like do the things. I bought a bathtub not long after, and I would just like soak in the bath, and I would put on relaxing music, and I would let it. I was literally doing the things that are like so cliche in movies, like where you see somebody's taking a bath, and I was just desperate to like, I just need relief. I need to get out of the kitchen. Yeah. I'm like, I don't need to be sitting in the kitchen. Like, let's come up with something other than using
from the
food.
Pantry.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and so I'm like, okay, I can't eat if I'm sitting in the bathtub, and I'm going to go take a walk, or I'm going to call a friend, or I'm going to do something. You just got to
yourself from the situation.
Yes.
I always say that.
Yes. And like you said, throw on a podcast, do something that will get your mind away, because I kept saying to myself, Dana, if you just turn to food again, which that from like my history is what I did, but I've learned that's not the way to solve it. And in fact, that's just going to make a bigger issue. It's another thing.
Be pissed at yourself from like.
So now I'm going through a divorce, and now I'm gaining 50 pounds, and now I'm going through.
I'm mad that I'm binge eating, and I thought that I wasn't doing this anymore.
And guess what? All of these things are going to pass. My divorce passed. Yeah. I took control over my business, and I got my business partners out. The narcissist blocked him everywhere. I was done. It took all the different things. Guess what? They all went away. And then what? I'm stuck now with a 50-pound weight gain. Mm-hmm. I was just self-sabotaging myself, me giving myself another problem, or are we going to weather these storms and come out on the other side? So when I came out of my divorce, I had gained a little bit, boop, snap right back. And I was like, I'm back. Like, it wasn't anything. I mean, I think the IUD made me gain more weight than my divorce. I mean, that was terrible.
That was terrible for you.
But, I used those tools and got through it. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. Like, I don't have a huge mess to clean up now with my weight. Like, I got through all those things.
Now with my life changing in the way that it's going.
Yes. Oh, yes. You want to tell?
It's scary, but I think that I have the tools on the back end of that.
Okay. And hopefully you learned from my experience. So Steph is expecting a baby, which is very exciting now. And so...
and this podcast will drop long after I announce
the announcement. Yes, this one will be in already. Steph will be way further along. But yeah, that's another huge life change.
It's a big life change. And let me tell you, I can't say that it's not mentally screwing with me.
It's going to be, it's another
gaining weight for a reason, but like still nonetheless gaining weight.
Yes.
I'm watching my belly get bigger.
Yep.
Where, I worked for the last 8-9 years for that belly to be really small. So this is going to be a new interesting part of my journey. And not saying that I'm ever going to be, I think like people like pop out babies and now they're all of a sudden a prenatal coach. I'm not saying that I'm ever going to be a perinatal coach.
You're going through the experience.
But
like we can.
I think that I can. It's going to be nice to be able to speak to it, but also, kind of. I haven't dieted for a really long time. I haven't really did anything like that. So I think it's going to be like, all right, Steph, what are you made of after this baby comes out? To pop yourself back. What are you made of? You still got this? Do you still got it?
Yeah. But the beauty of it is you'll also know, you don't have to rush it as far as you have to listen to your body because you don't know how your pregnancy is going to go.
Oh God, no.
You don't know what your recovery is going to be
right now. So,
and then not for nothing, but right after you have a baby and it's your first baby.
Yep.
Now, once you have a baby and you know what to expect and you're like, okay, I got this. I know the schedule. I know what. But when you first bring a baby home and you've never had a baby before, you're like, dude, this is crazy. And then you expect it to be on your schedule and you're like, no, I'm actually on this baby schedule. Yeah. I thought that I was going to get sleep. I didn't. I thought that I was going to whatever. I didn't. You don't know the type of baby. Some people are blessed with babies that sleep and sleep and sleep. My kid was up screaming and
I'm having a very good pregnancy, so I think I'm going to have a screaming kid.
I mean, you know what? But and then I remember I was not ready to really bring it. It wasn't until probably the twins were 7 months until I was ready to really lose the weight because I was like, dude, I'm so tired. I was tired with the twins.
You had two.
And then I had three.
Because of Bodhi.
Because I had a toddler who was just 3, newborn twins. And my body was also pretty wrecked from the pregnancy. So I was like, okay. But then I thought, hey, Dana, there's no rush. There's no finish line. So we're going to get there and you're going to take care of your kids and you're going to take care of your life and your family and all your things. And then you're going to be working towards getting to where it's go time. And when it's go time, it'll be go time. And then it was. And I competed a year later and it was great, in October. But
I think it's going to be very interesting.
But you can't even, I always say, we plan and God laughs because I planned to have a beautiful natural birth and then breastfeed. I ended up getting a C-section, a blood infection. I almost died. I had a pump and dump. I was this was not what I planned. It was and so every time now, anytime there's somebody pregnant in my life and they're like, well, what I'm planning is, and I'm planning.
Well,
and I'm like,
what's your birthing plan, Steph? And I'm like, well, I'd like to go natural, but who knows? Game time decisions, people.
Right? I was I had a whole plan and it went out the window. When the kid, it was 41 weeks and the kid still wasn't, and his head was too big and he wasn't fitting into my pelvis. And they were like, look, this kid doesn't want to even, and I'm like, cut him out. All right, well, that plan went out the window. So you know what? And finally I had to start realizing once I also had my twins, I'm like, I'm not going to plan anything because I planned a VBAC with the twins. And then they kept summer. Well, my doctor was willing to do it, but they kept, Bryce was twin A and she kept flipping. And at the end, she needed to be head down for a VBAC with the twin.
Right.
They don't even know how, but she's like, okay, she's ready. She's head down. Nope, she flipped again and her legs were down. And I'm like, oh my God, the kid isn't going. I'm like, why isn't the kid going with the plan? The kid should be going with the plan. So finally I was like, you know what? I'm tired of plans. We're going to take it however it goes because you know what? In life, you don't always get to just make a plan and it happens. And it's proving to me. So finally I was like, we're just going to see how this goes.
Exactly.
And that's why I would always say to any of my friends whenever I'm like, okay, try not to overplan because then you're setting yourself up for failure. These people would have this whole plan. And then they're
the baby out and then be running.
And then none of it happened.
No.
None of the plan happened. And it's like, okay, well, you wasted a lot of time planning something that, but where nature is going to tell you what's going to happen. And that's really, I mean, it's the truth a lot of the times. I mean, of course, it's always nice to
I'm planning right now to continue my fitness as long as I can.
Oh, yeah.
I'm planning to, have some fun pregnancy foods, but also not.
And you have to just embrace the process. Extra, it's who knows? I mean, you may have 1 baby, 2 babies, who knows what you're going to have, but it's this is the 9 months out of your life that you're going to.
No, there's only 1 in there. What are you talking about? You mean right now? Or
no, meaning who knows how many kids you're going to plan because you've gone back and forth of how big of a family you want.
1.
No, but you've said I don't know, maybe 1's enough, maybe 2, maybe, who knows? But I'm just saying okay, like, it's okay. You don't need to be hard on yourselves. It's pregnancy. It's going to be 9 months out of your life. I look at it. I remember the 9 months felt so long. And then I just told you, I look over, I'm driving my car, and there's my freaking almost 15-year-old riding on his bike with his wife beater and his hair blown in the wind. And I'm like, how did I give birth to that 15 years ago? What in the heck? Where did the time go?
It's so funny. You said that we have a good friend that is having a baby at the end of this month. And I swear she just got pregnant like yesterday. And here's me. I'm 9.5.
Oh, it's going to go like this.
And I'm like, this is
it's going to go so quickly. So I'm like, I'm so excited. And in fact, hopefully we'll have you back on. Like, obviously, I'd like before the baby here. So we'll talk. We'll have more chats about it. We'll have some time. We'll see how the pregnancy's going and what the plans are.
You might hear from me next and be like, I hate all of this.
Right. Which who knows? Because that was a lot on my journey. By the time my feet didn't fit into shoes anymore, and I was like a swollen walrus, and it was just
yeah.
You've seen the pictures.
You were big.
I was big.
Oh,
I haven't even let all the really bad ones leak on social media because
I've seen some bad ones.
They're
Especially with the twins. That looks so uncomfortable.
The twins were bad. But Bodie, I gained 70 with Bodie and 55 with the twins. Bodie, I was bigger.
Yeah, but you were pounding calzones
with
with Bodie.
No, Bodie was just like YOLO. Like, I was just a jerk. I was a jerk. But you know what? I lived and learned. And then with the twins, I went into the doctor and I was like, okay, how much can I gain with this pregnancy? And he was like, I would like you to gain 55 with twins.
You're like, boom, done.
So I gained 55. Exactly 55.
I'm taking it there. Not 1 pound less.
No, exactly. I was like, challenge accepted. I will gain 55. I walked out. I'm like, mission, like, what is it like when you have like your orders? And I was like, got it.
Red sticks.
Yes, exactly. I will not say no. Yeah. And you know, it's fine. It all worked out. And, now when we come across those shots, my mom sends them to me because she's like, remember how big you were? And I'm like, ooh, this is a money shot.
Yeah.
I got to show everybody because I was big, but like and then to see like what, I turned my body into and where I'm living.
It's nice to know that this isn't the end all be all.
It's temporary. That's why I'm like, okay, enjoy, be kind to yourself, give yourself grace.
Those thoughts like circle. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to get big. Like,
I know, but you're going to be okay.
I already had my tummy tuck done from plastic, from
losing
weight, which, by the way, I'm going to be buying myself a new one for my 40th birthday already. That's signed, sealed, delivered. You'll see me have.
Yeah, no. You'll earn it. You'll deserve it, and
forget about it. I'm very open with my plastic surgeries.
Yes, so we'll come back and discuss those too.
Yeah. Very open. Don't need it. I had 7 pounds of skin, or 7 or 8 pounds of skin. I can't remember removed. When I had mine done.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to follow up on all this. This has been an amazing episode, another really fun one.
I feel like there's a bunch of ADD in these last
No, people are going to love this. This is good girl talk, real talk. You guys, you can find Steph, Shrinking Steph on IG.
_shrinking_ Steph.
Okay, yeah. And always you can look on the listing on all of our we'll have Steph.
Throw my email on there. Anybody?
Yes, exactly. Matter. Steph's amazing. So if anything that she said hit home with you that you need coaching about, she's unbelievable.
Or if you just have questions about plastics, weight loss.
Steph's
I'm also a nurse practitioner.
Oh yeah. This girl's a good resource for you. Trust me. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining. Steph, thank you for being here again. And we will see you next time on Until It's Done, a Devoted podcast.